I'd like to begin tonight by first of all saying, don't purchase number 51 back there, because you just met my grandson and he really liked it and he put his finger in it. So 51 is ours. I'd like to begin by thanking Dan and Derek Davis as presidents. This is a big undertaking, and I know they've spent a lot of time, and I'd like to personally thank them for their efforts. Having attended this every year, I know it's a huge thing, and every year it seems to get better and better, and it's nice to see past inductees. I'm not going to name them because you always forget somebody and feel bad about it. So it's really special to see those that are inducted past or in the Hall of Fame. So thanks for attending. I'd like to also, everybody knows the difficulties that we've had funding athletics this year, and I know that the Booster Club here at Skyline has gone out of their way to help the sport teams at Skyline with transportation and many things, and that is a huge burden that they've taken on, and I can't thank them enough, and the parents definitely can't thank them enough for stepping up and making huge contributions. Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be able to do this tonight because Coach Lewis has meant so much to me. I'm proud to say that I was the first class of basketball players to play for Coach Lewis when he came in 1977-78. And I can remember sitting in the small theater and Mr. Bigelow walking in to introduce him to us, and really we were just a bunch of football players wanting to play basketball. I think probably 80% of our team was football players, and we really didn't know how to take this, but we were excited to play basketball. And so Coach Lewis walked in and introduced himself and told us that this is the way it was going to be, and believe me, we believed that. So we were excited, and I remember we went down to the gym and started playing basketball, and I don't think that pleased Coach Rass very much, but Coach Lewis walked in and watched us for a while, and he said, you know what, if you want to play basketball, we're going to find a place for you to play during the summer. And that he did. We ended up going to Kerry and playing open gyms during the summer. And he wanted to introduce his offense, and he says, okay, you're going to pass here and pick away. So we played for about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden he stopped us, and he goes, this is what I mean when he said a pick. So he passed the ball and went over there, and I can't remember who he flattened, but he flattened somebody and said, that's how we set a pick. And we're going, okay, we're football players, we can handle this. But anyway, we appreciated that because he told us exactly what was expected, and believe me, we thrived on that. And I cannot tell you what it meant for him to spend the time for a bunch of football players to learn basketball. And his knowledge was immense. I'm not proud to say, but I was the first Skyline basketball player under Coach Lewis to earn a technical. And that was a lesson learned in itself because, you know, the first month was taking charge drills because it was defense under Coach Lewis, and stand up, get knocked down, stand up, get knocked down, stand up, get knocked down, and every time the team was cheering for you when you got back up. So we went over to Bora, and doing what I was taught, I took a charge, and of course the official didn't see it that way. Called a foul on me, and I was sitting on the ground, and I kind of slapped the ground, and of course got the technical. Out of the game I came, and it was right before halftime. And the coach didn't say anything to me, but of course we went in at halftime, and 10 minutes of halftime, 8 of it was explaining that this is my basketball team and no one's going to get technicals except me. And needless to say, I was the only player to get a technical that year. But you know what? When we went out the second half, he turned to me and said, "Kerry, get in the game." So I knew right then that, you know what, you do what you're asked, and you'll be rewarded for that, and I really appreciated that. You know, I went on to college, and I did my student teaching at Bora, and the first game of the year, I was working with Coach Williams as a sophomore B coach, and guess who our opponent was the first game of the year? Skyline. And I got a kind of chilly reception by Coach Lewis because now I was on the opposing bench. But anyway, 3 years later, Coach Rass retired and Coach Guilford took over the football job, and I received a phone call from Coach Lewis and Coach Guilford asking me to come back to Skyline High School and coach. And you know, that was a tremendous honor for me to be asked by those two men to come back and help them in their programs. So I jumped at the chance, and I don't regret it at all. Coach Lewis taught me so much, not only as a player, but as a coach. I experienced how much he cared about me as a player, but sitting in the coach's office and listening to him talk about the players that we were coaching was mind-boggling to me. I can remember, I'm not going to say the name, but I remember there were many times we stopped practice short because it wasn't going well. But there was one time he kicked a player off the team and sent him to the gym and said, you know, "You're done, turn your uniform in." And I think before the night was over, he'd already gone and contacted the kid and said, "You know what, this is not right, you're coming back." And that kid came back and helped us immensely in the district tournament. But the thing that I learned from Coach Lewis in that moment was he's going to fight for the kids that are putting on the uniform for him and representing Skyline High School. And another thing I learned about Coach Lewis was preparation. You know, I'm not going to give you numbers of wins and stuff like that. That speaks for itself. What I learned was preparation leads to that, and this guy Coach Lewis was immensely prepared, and that's why his teams always won at the district tournament time. He had always had something up his sleeve. Coach Lewis, it's probably the only time I was ever recruited, but Coach Lewis tried to recruit me to Alaska to go teach, and I turned that down because we weren't going to take our kids that far, but it seems like everything he's done exemplary, out of this world. And I am honored to introduce the 2011 Hall of Fame inductee as a friend, as a mentor, and as my coach, Coach Lewis.